You guys missed it last night. The Detroit Lions traded away quarterback Matthew Stafford to the Los Angeles Rams in exchange for quarterback Jared Goff, the LA Rams third round selection in the 2021 NFL draft, and their two first round selections in the 2022 and 2023 NFL draft. So the question that some people are asking me are, JT, do you feel like the LA Rams gave up too much for Matthew Stafford? Now, here's my initial thoughts. Yes, they did, but I understand why. Because here's how you got to look at the trade. A lot of people are looking at this trade from the perspective that the Detroit Lions and the LA Rams essentially swapped quarterbacks. The Rams gave up Jared Goff in exchange for Matthew Stafford. That's not how you got to look at this trade. You see, this trade was more than the LA Rams trading for Matthew Stafford. This was also the LA Rams who were trying to get rid of Jared Goff's contract. So Jared Goff, a couple years back, signed a 4-year deal worth $134 million. Now, this year in 2021, he is going to have a $34 million cap hit, and in 2022, he's going to have a cap hit of $32 million. So anytime you have a quarterback who has a not ideal contract and you're trying to trade him away, you're going to have to give up some additional compensation in return for that team taking that cap hit for that quarterback or for that player. I think we saw a similar situation last offseason when the Jacksonville Jaguars traded away Nick Foles. And remember, the Jacksonville Jaguars had to give up an additional draft pick in compensation for the Bears taking the cap hit of Nick Foles. So when you look at this trade, you just can't look at it from an aspect that the Lions and the Rams swap quarterbacks. You have to look at it at the aspect of this. The Rams were not only trading for quarterback Matthew Stafford, but they were also trading away Jared Goff and trading away his cap hit. So in this ideal situation, I do still feel like the LA Rams gave up a little bit too much for Matthew Stafford. I can understand the third round selection, the first round pick, but also you do have to take into account that they were also trading away Jared Goff's contract as well. Now, in terms of who won this trade, Detroit won this trade in the long term, as we think. Now, I still am not going to be all that sold on who won this trade. Like, I think we're going to have to wait at least 3 to 4 years to see who really did win this trade. But for right now, it looks like Detroit won the trade because they get 2 first-round picks on top of the first-round picks they essentially already have. So that means in the next couple of drafts, the Detroit Lions are going to have essentially 2 first-round picks in 2022 and 2023, depending if they don't end up trading one of those away. So Detroit is in a better position long-term, but also you got to think about the negative implications. Okay, yes, you got 2 first-round picks in this trade, but you did get Jared Goff, and you are going to be taking on Jared Goff's contract, which means you are going to be taking on his cap hit as well, which means you're probably not going to have all that much money to spend in free agency in the next upcoming years if you are the Detroit Lions. Now, it's easy for Detroit Lions fans to say, well, JT, we keep Jared Goff for a year, we still draft the quarterback, and we go ahead and trade Jared Goff. Do you guys still think that Jared Goff is going to improve that much on the Detroit Lions that you will be able to find a team in 2022 that would be willing to take on that $32 million cap hit without you having to give up some additional compensation? Don't really know about that. And on top of that, the reason why it's easy for people to say the Lions won this trade in the short term is because they got 2 first-round picks out of it. But we don't know what the Detroit Lions are going to do with those picks because those picks are unproven commodities. We don't know. For all we know, the Detroit Lions could use those first-round picks in 2022 and 2023, and they could turn out to be bust. But they also could turn out to be pretty high-level caliber players as well, which is why I said that it's really going to take at least 3 to 4 years to really see who won this trade. But when you look at the Rams are a super aggressive franchise. You can say, well, JT, the Rams aren't going to have any more first round picks, and it's going to be about 8 years since the Rams have had a first round pick, essentially because the Rams, the last time they had a first round pick was when they drafted Jared Goff back in 2016. But when you look at the Rams built their franchise a different way than what the majority of you guys think a franchise should build. A lot of people think that the general narrative is that you build a franchise through the draft and you sign marquee free agents here and there. Well, the Rams, here's what they do. They say, we don't care about first round picks. We're going to use those first round picks to try to get us a high caliber player. So if we're going to use a first round pick, we might as well use it on a proven player that we know what we're going to get out of. That is the Rams philosophy. They're super aggressive. They rather trade their first round picks for a proven player who they know is going to be good versus drafting a player who you don't really know if he's going to be great or if he's going to be a bust or not. Because even though we may perceive certain players or certain draft prospects to be great, you still don't know if they are going to be great. There still is a possibility that they could be a buzz. A good example is Trevor Lawrence. Everybody's saying that Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck, which I'm not going to disagree with, but there is a possibility that he could be a bust as well. You always have the chance of a draft player or a draft prospect being a bust when you draft them, regardless of how good that you think they will be or they could be. So for the Rams, I mean, you look at Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is miles ahead of Jared Goff in terms of being a quarterback. And Matthew Stafford is a complete upgrade from Jared Goff. And I'm so tired of, the narrative that people were saying that, Matthew Stafford can't win the big games. Matthew Stafford, is overrated. Matthew Stafford's not a good quarterback. And you got to look at it this way. Okay, Matthew Stafford is getting everything with the LA Rams that he never had in Detroit. Okay, in Detroit, he never had a good head coach. The best head coach Matthew Stafford ever had when he was playing for the Detroit Lions was Jim Caldwell. Now, with Jim Caldwell, Jim Caldwell had some pretty good seasons with Matthew Stafford. He took them to the playoffs a couple of years, but overall, once they got into the playoffs, they got bounced out in the first round the majority of the time. So for me, I think that Sean McVay, being the offensive genius that he is going to get the most out of Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is also going to have a really good group of wide receivers. He's going to have a great offensive line. And most importantly, he's going to have a run game. One thing that Matthew Stafford never had in Detroit ever since he got drafted there was a run game. I think Detroit has only had a 100-yard rusher 10 times throughout Matthew Stafford's tenure in Detroit. Not only that, but he's also going to have a really good defense as well. And a lot of you Detroit Lions fans who wanted to blame the whole entire organization's, problems on Matthew Stafford, you're going to realize what you're missing out when you give Matthew Stafford a good head coach and a good team around him. And he is going to prove everybody that ever doubted him wrong and everybody that ever called him overrated wrong as well. And I think personally that the LA Rams are going to be my favorite, depending on how this offseason goes, to win the NFC. If I had to make a way too early 2021-2022 NFC championship game prediction, I would have the Rams in that game. Now, it's really early, I'm not, sticking to that statement because I still have to see how the rest of the offseason transpires for not only the Rams, but also the other teams in the NFC as well. But if I had to make a way too early, NFC conference championship game prediction, the Rams most definitely would be in that conversation because Jared Goff held back the LA Rams from making it to the Super Bowl this year. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, JT, it's a team game. You can't put all the problems on Jared Goff, which is understandable, but you can have weak links. You can have people that hold you back from getting to where you want to be in life. And that's what I feel like Jared Goff was for the LA Rams. Okay, Jared Goff was solid at the first couple of years in his career under Sean McVay, but he has progressed. And, he has got worse every single year ever since their Super Bowl loss against the New England Patriots. So he has regressed. He's taken steps back as a quarterback. Now, can the Detroit Lions rehabilitate Jared Goff? I don't really know. But I am really excited about what the future has in store for the LA Rams with Matthew Stafford at the helm at quarterback. Let me know what you guys think about this down in the comment section down below. Do you guys feel like the LA Rams gave up too much for Matthew Stafford? Make sure that you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content. And thanks for watching.